Suzanne Barron, founder of Christ's Illuminati, reading of Matthew 15. Then some Pharisees and teachers of the law came to Jesus from Jerusalem and asked, "Why do your disciples break the traditions of the elders? They don't wash their hands before they eat." Jesus replied, "And why do you break the command of God and forsake the command of God for the sake of your tradition? For God said, 'Honor your father and mother,' and anyone who curses their mother or father is to be put to death. But you say that if anyone declares that what might have been used to help their father or mother is devoted to God, they are not to honor their father or mother with it. Thus you nullify the word of God for the sake of your traditions. You hypocrites, Isaiah was right when he prophesied about you. These people honor me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me. They worship me in vain. Their teachings are merely human rules." It's not necessarily what he's talking about here, but I have some thoughts on this. I've seen people. That's what I'm saying. When I say that the Christian society is in the right place, their hearts are in the right place, and they are looking. Their hearts are far from me, is what he's saying. They honor their lips, their hearts are far from me. That's not what's happening in the Christian society. Like, for a lot of Christians, anyways. Um, I'm talking about the ones who go religiously. You know, they go 3, 4 times a week. They are trying with all their might to get to heaven. They really are. The deception in that is going to fall with the belief, not understanding the mental health that I'm trying to teach, and like understanding how reliant we've come on these devices and stuff like that. But there are some people like who, I guess I could use jail for an example, because the easiest way to get you to understand it. People will go to jail and they turn their life to God and they call it Jesus for the stay. They're only Jesus for the stay, because as soon as they leave jail, they're not opening their Bibles. Okay? And they're praying, and they're putting their faith in God that He's going to help them through. But their hearts are far from them, because they still cuss, they still talk negative about people. They're still like living in sin inside of the jail, for instance. Um, and I could use my life, my personal life, is when I was going to church. I was going in the 5 years before, prior to this ministry, and before I left the church. It was a while back. I was going to church and I was honoring um, God with my lips, but my heart was not there, because I would never pick up my Bible at home. I would never study at home. Um, I would never do those things. I still listened to bad music. My heart was definitely nowhere near God in those days. And I can recognize that now in somebody where I'm like, wow, but you can't really change them. It's very difficult, because you can't make their heart be there. You can't make somebody love God. They worship me in vain. Their teachings are merely human rules. I see it now. I see it a lot. I see it a lot. Um, my neighbor Trinity, for instance, she understood these things, and I thought after some time she would start making some personal changes in her life. I gave her that much credit. She understood, just like I understand this ministry, but she's not willing to change some things about her life. She's not, I mean, she literally just sits at home all the time, does nothing. She walks on a walker. She's medically incapable of doing things. So, I mean, I've gone through so much stress lately. My language is like numb-minded. Can't get the words out properly these days. She's incapable of doing certain things, and it's because of her medical situation. Um, I gave her that, but ultimately she's not willing to change certain things about her life, and I can see that, and it's heartbreaking. But anyways, Jesus called the crowd to him and said, "Listen and understand. What goes into the mouth does not defile them, but what comes out of their mouth, that's what defiles them. What comes out comes from your heart. Whatever's coming out of you, how you behave, how you talk, anything about you, the works of the flesh are evident. Like, whatever's coming out of you, that's who you are. And you can put on a show for someone for a while. People do that. They pretend. I always say this in a relationship, whether it's a friend relationship, boyfriend girlfriend relationship, um, employee relationship, it doesn't matter. You're entering a relationship with this person, whatever kind of relationship it is, acquaintanceship, whatever. You're going to show them your best person first. You're going to show them everything that you think is the best about you first. But if they spend enough time with you, eventually who you really are is going to come out. You can't hide it. You can hide it for a minute. If I only have to deal with you here or there, and like, like when I was cleaning clients' homes, I can be whoever I wanted for an hour once a week, and they would never see the other side of me. But if I spend enough time with them, start learning things about people. That's who you are, and you cannot hide who you are. Then the disciples came to him and asked, "Do you know that the Pharisees were offended when they heard this?" And he replied, "Every plant that my heavenly Father has not planted will be pulled up by the roots. Leave them. They are blind guides. If the blind lead the blind, both will fall into a pit." I'll back up a second. That's one reason why I have tried to be extremely transparent in my ministry. Extremely transparent. I am broke. I have no job right now. I chose to not have a job because I wanted to do that could be important because of my situation. I have got to pause. I tried to make a living. I tried to earn money from the ministry. Um, I was trying to sell t-shirts. I was trying to make this a priority in my life. And that only caused problems in my home, um, between me and my mom. Because I don't want to just point fingers at her, but my mom is money hungry. And it didn't matter if I have a job, she's still gonna mooch money. And that's acceptable. I can take that um sacrifice, by paying her what we agreed on and then more because she's always going to ask for more, which is a breach of agreement, which is how that worked prior to choosing not to go to work. I can settle with that. So I'm going to start job searching. I wanted to make this a priority, and that's really what it all boils down to. But I've lost track here. Again, that just shows transparency, that I'm human, and that I'm struggling to get this message out. If anything you can take from this uncertainty, I'm human. I am not a speaker. I've never been a speaker in my life. I had to do potlucks once and stand in front of 50 people, 500 people, and I choked all over it and ran from it. Okay, I'm not a speaker. I'm doing the best I can. Now, I want to say right here, um, before I pause this and have to go get my charger because my battery's dying now too. If the Father was going to send anybody, who would he send? Would he send somebody that's like Elon Musk? I'm just using him for an example, okay? I'm kind of on good terms with him. I don't dislike Elon Musk in any way. But somebody who's popular, somebody who's got a lot of money, somebody who he wouldn't pick that person. He would pick somebody who struggles, somebody who's broke, somebody who doesn't have a love for money, somebody who's willing to make sacrifices, and that's who he would pick. We know that that is the character of the person that he would pick. He does not look at the outside appearance of a man, but the inside of the man. He looks at the heart. And if there's anything you are able to pick up on through my ministry all the way through, it is my heart. That is what he looks at. And I have that all the way. Okay, so anyways, we'll just continue on. Jesus called the crowd to him and said, "Listen and understand, what goes into someone's mouth does not defile them, but what comes out of their mouth, that is what defiles them." Then the disciples came to him and asked, "Do you know that the Pharisees were offended when they heard this?" He replied, "Every plant that my heavenly Father does not plant will be pulled up by the roots. Leave them, they are blind guides. If the blind lead the blind, both will fall into the pit." There's a lot of blind people in the world right now. A lot of blind people. And it's not so much, a lot of people know that artificial intelligence is the bad. A lot of people understand that she's very scary. But they don't really have the scriptural evidence that I do, and it does take time to see it. I mean, like, literally, they've created brains on a dish. They've created brains on dishes. You know what? Eventually, they're going to do is they're going to put those brains inside of the robots. Eventually, that's what's going to happen. But we have created life with our own hands, right? We have, as humans, created life, but we didn't really do it. Something drove us to do that. Ezekiel 37 is the prophecy for the robots and the life, the arid places, troubled four winds. Peter said, "Explain the parable to us." "Are you still so dull?" Jesus asked. Do you see that whatever enters the mouth goes into the stomach and then out of the body? But the things that come out of a person's mouth come from the heart, and these defile them. That's what I said just a minute ago. For out of the heart come evil thoughts, murder, adultery, sexual immorality, theft, false testimony, slander, all sin. What's filling your heart? These are what defile a person, but eating with unwashed hands does not defile them. Leaving that place, Jesus withdrew to the region of Tyre and Sidon. A Canaanite woman from the vicinity came to him, crying out, "Lord, Son of David, have mercy on me. My daughter is demon possessed and suffered terribly." Now, we don't talk about demon possession in our world. In the Christian society, we don't actually talk about demons possessing you. Would you be able to recognize a person who had a demon possessing the person? Would you be able to recognize one? Would you know what it would look like? And suffers terribly. Demon possession. That's going to look like Mark 5, cutting himself with stones, crying out night and day, alone in the tombs. He's going to look homeless, speaking on the streets. Those people who you see, not all of them are on street drugs. Not all of them are on street drugs. Ask any mental health counselor in the world. Not all of them are on street drugs. I would say long-term effective drugs. That is the way he has got it set up so that he can hide. So we no longer recognize the truth. Demons do possess people. They really do. And they cause suffering. And it looks like mental health. And we prescribe pharmaceuticals and we do not teach them the truth. And how many Christians are mental health counselors? How many people believe in God and have a degree and write prescriptions, and they do not talk to these people about the spiritualness of their attack? How many are out there? Jesus did not answer a word, so his disciples came to him and said, "Send her away, for she keeps crying out after us." And he answered, "I was only sent for the lost sheep of Israel." The woman came and knelt before him. "Lord, please help me," she said. He replied, "It is not right to take the children's bread and toss it to the dogs." "Yes, it is, Lord," she said. "Even the dogs eat the crumbs that fall from the master's table." Now, why did he not help her? Why did he not want to help her? Because she was a Canaanite. Jesus showed partiality right there. That seems pretty human, doesn't it? It doesn't seem like God, right? I told my pastor, God was speaking to me. He said, does God show partiality? How come he speaks to you and not everybody else? I'm a godly man. You're a sinner. He didn't say that part, but he said, I'm a godly man. Why is he not speaking to me? Does God show partiality? No, he doesn't. But he does give specific gifts to certain people. Okay, that's not what's happening here, though. Jesus in human flesh healed everybody else, but he didn't want to heal this woman's daughter because she was not a Jew. He showed partiality right here. He showed human. But then Jesus said to her, Woman, you have great faith. Your request is granted. And her daughter was healed at that moment. Jesus left her and went along to the Sea of Galilee. Then he went up on a mountainside and sat down. Great crowds came to him, bringing the lame, the blind, the crippled, the mute, and many others, and laid them at his feet, and he was healed. How do we know that all of these people that he healed in this story were Jews? How do we know that every single person that Jesus healed was a Jew? How would he know that? Did he ask each one of them, Are you a Jew? Are you a Jew? Are you a Jew? I'm just spitting it out, okay? It's called speculation at this point. But how would he have known that? Then Jesus called his disciples. Where is it at? Oh, the people were amazed when they saw the mute speaking, the crippled made well, the lame walking, and the blind seeing, and they praised God of Israel. And we don't know why he did that, like why he told that lady that. We don't know what it is. I want to say it's because he's tired. That there was another story. Don't have internet right now. Okay, I just got out of jail. I'm struggling. All right, so I can't look that up. But I feel like it was because he was tired. Like he sat down on a wall and he was just tired. I feel like this is the story, but I could be wrong. And that would be in like maybe Mark, Luke, or John. So I could be wrong there. But still, he showed humanness in this story. How the people were amazed when they saw the mute speaking, the crippled made well, the lame walking, and the blind seeing, and they praised the God of Israel. Jesus called his disciples to him and said, I have compassion for these people. They have already been with me 3 days and have nothing to eat. I do not want to send them away hungry, or they may collapse on the way. And his disciples answered, Where could we get enough bread in this remote place to feed such a crowd? How many loaves do you have? Jesus asked. 7, they replied, and a few small fish. And he told the crowd to sit down on the ground. Then he took the 7 loaves and the fish, and when he gave thanks, he broke them and gave them to the disciples, and they in turn to the people. They all ate and were satisfied. Afterward, the disciples picked up 7 basketfuls of broken pieces that were left over. The number of those who ate was 4,000 men, besides women and children. After Jesus had sent the crowd away, he got into the boat and went to the vicinity of Magadan. Okay. Okay, thank you.